Restaurant Unstoppable, inspire, empower, and transform the industry. So you reached out to me, your publicist reached out to me like a couple of days after, letting me know that you have this cookbook coming out, and that she listed all the things that we could talk about if you were to come back on the show. And one of the things she mentioned was that you're promoting this book, in that you're choosing to not use, you're off social media, and you're choosing not to use social media to promote your book. And in today's age, most people would tell you you're crazy. You need social media. There's no way to be successful without social media. And I would tend to lean in the direction where they're right, but at the same time, I'm also probably the only person that I know who's willing to say they're right. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
They're right. That you need to be on social media all the time, constantly promoting yourself to be successful in life. And I think we really need to wake up and go, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? Like, why is it that they are right?
Right.
Let's fucking snap out of this and like be a little aware and conscious of what world we're creating. Like, I don't want to be a part of that world. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no. I mean, you kind of summed it up nicely there. I think my decision to get off social media, it stems from the fact that the real world is so much better. And I think that
what is the real world?
The real, like trees and dirt and stuff, and like real people face to face, or Zoom for now. I'll take Zoom for now, but much prefer a face to face. But yeah, I find that when I looked back, when I was thinking about deleting my social media, I had a real honest chat with myself where I was like, okay, just think about all the things in your life and like how they came about, and like, what has social media really done for you? And I had nothing. I mean, nothing. Every great connection I've ever made has come from something I've done outside of social media. And sure, there may be like some fringe cases, like perhaps someone, perhaps we initially connect. I don't think this is how it happened, but perhaps if we had connected via social media, okay, that's one example. But even still, it's because I had a restaurant that had a social media page. I like to think that all of these things would have still come about even without social media. And I think we're told this lie that everything is happening on there, and if you get off of it, then you're like left out of the game, especially for creators. Like, my sister is an artist. I have a lot of artist friends. And I think almost like the unanimous opinion about all of this is like, God, I wish I didn't have to do social media, because what they really love doing is the work they're doing. It's the art, it's the music, it's whatever they're working on. And then they have to turn around and create some sort of way to promote it on this platform that they're annoyed by. So I don't think you actually need it. I think that things happen all the time outside of social media, and sure, maybe they get shared on social media, but they aren't generated there. It's like a phantom event, really, what's happening on social media. So I think I'll be fine without it. But then my backup comfort was that if I'm wrong and you do need social media to be a successful author, then I guess I don't want to be an author. Like, that's not the job that I want, and I'll find something else to do.
Well, a lot of my pushback with social media, and it's weird because it's tough, because I'm put in this position where it's my job to go out there and talk to people and to find out what it takes to be successful. And if I'm looking at the data, if I'm looking at what people have told me they do, that's super important, it's absolutely our social media presence. Absolutely. It creates impressions, and we stay top of mind, and we collect contact information, and we can build our list through these methods and tactics. And it 100%, I can't argue that it does not help. Like, it absolutely helps your business. I can't argue that it doesn't.
I'm on the fence about that. I think, so when we first started the restaurant, we had a social media presence, but it was like, we're here, Yeah. And it built up over time until eventually we had, a significant following. I think it was like 18,000 when I deleted the page or something, which is, anyone who's working to build a following knows that that's not, you don't just land in that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that actually contributed to the success of the restaurant, because I think it was a lot of locals, and a lot of our social media presence were not local. And even up until the day before I deleted my social media, I was still getting messages being like, are you open today? And I was like, well, no, because we closed almost 2 years ago, So I think a lot of the people consuming what we're putting out on social media were not actual customers. And our most loyal customers were just the ones who were there actually in person. And sure, they told people about it. Maybe it was on social media, maybe it was otherwise, but I can't like directly link things that happened to us back to social media.
So I'm happy you said that, because I wasn't a compound and say like, yes, all those things, that if you're willing to do all those things, it won't hurt your business.
Right. I don't think it will hurt.
It
No.
will drive traffic to your business for sure. Absolutely. And where it gets kind of, it's like, it will drive new guests to your customer, to your business. But we all know that the magic is in keeping customers, right? And 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your guests. And those are the people who you touch and see every day. That's four walls marketing.
Yep.
And I think that four walls marketing takes precedence over social media. And social media should be an afterthought. Four walls marketing. And here's the thing. I know, and I don't open a restaurant, but I haven't opened, I don't run a restaurant, but I know that if I was a restaurant owner and my life was looking at my phone and being down in it, telling the world how fucking great I am and having to do that instead of being fucking great and looking at people and talking to people who are with me, I think there's a lot of that missing in the world. And right now, I think there's a bigger epidemic happening or pandemic happening than COVID. And it's people living in their little fucking digital bubble and not interacting with people,
Yeah.
And we need this. We don't understand how badly we need this. And I'm a student of human behavior, of anthropology, of studying where we came from to figure out where the fuck we're going. And this isn't the way. Technology is exponential. Humans are linear. Humans evolve linearly. And I think this world that we live in, there's no way that one person can absorb it all and be happy. And it's a real issue. And I feel like there needs to be some pushback. Like, listen, like we are designed to bump up against people, to hug people, to read body language, to absorb. Like there's so many things that are happening in real life that we aren't even aware of. There's communication that happens in real time, in real life, low road communication, body language that we're just not even aware of. Endorphins, chemicals are literally floating from my body, and you're smelling that shit. And there's things that are happening on a deeper level that we're not even aware of, and we're depriving ourselves of it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going on a rant, but it's hard for me to say, hey, go out there and spend your whole day talking about how great you are and creating content and living on social media when you're missing out on real life. And I find this is a struggle for me.
I think a lot of people would argue, which I've heard this argument many times, that, well, I can still be on social media and have this real life. And I don't disagree, but I think like every day I go to sleep wishing I had more time in the day. And sure, I could do both, but every minute I spend on social media, even if it's just preparing a post and not looking at anything else, is time that I would have much rather spent doing something else.
Yeah. I mean, we are all given 24 hours in a day. And one of the reasons why I deleted, and I should announce, I've deleted Facebook and Instagram from my phone. I still have my accounts, but I don't look.
That's how it starts.
I don't look at them. And even when I have these things on my phone, I really hardly did. Or when I was looking at, that's a little bit of a lie. I would look at Instagram. I would do things on Instagram, but I don't like to engage like that. I don't like to speak. I don't even text my mother. You know what I mean? Like I'm the kind of person to pick up a phone and call.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I use audio text messages now. That's my new favorite thing.
Yeah. So I don't to think that everybody is hardwired to exist well on social media is, I think, another thing that's like saying 20 years ago, hey, the secret to being successful in life, in business, is being a really good scrapbooker. You got to be really good at creating a scrapbook and go out there and get them. But here's the thing. Not everybody's going to be good at that. Not everybody's going to be hardwired for that. So you have this thing that everybody has to do, but only a small percentage of people actually are good at it. And then that hinges on your success. What's the issue with that?
Yeah. I think it's very distracting. I agree. It's just, you're working on something, and then social media is is a fly being like, you should post, or like, how are people going to know what you're doing? I think they'll figure it out. You know,
yeah, go ahead.
You go.
I think there are some or benefits of social media. Like, it does give you a window into the world that you wouldn't normally be able to see certain things. You wouldn't be able to get inspiration. Like the culinary world has exploded in the past, what we'd call it, 14 years, ever since 2007, when we had the smartphone and we could peer into the kitchens around the world to see what other chefs are doing. It definitely had a positive impact culinarily on our industry because of people sharing creativity and inspiring each other. But that's a double-edged sword, because at the same time we're comparing ourselves to everybody else. And here's the thing: that we all know that the people, it's like dating, like a dating app. You go on the dating apps, you find these people, you're like, this person looks great, and then you meet them and you're like, you're nothing like your profile, you know. And that's social media, you know. We're all projecting this image of ourselves, of what we want people to think, but it's not real. But that's the image we compare ourselves to. There's an issue with this shit.
Yeah. It's very complicated. I do think, like you said, there are some benefits. I think that most of the time they're severely outweighed by the cons. But you know, I can think of like subgroups where it's like marginalized communities, or like kind of fringe. You know, there was a time where like the LGBTQ plus community probably found a lot of comfort, and still now in certain parts of the country, going online and connecting with like-minded people. Or like, you know, if social media had been more prominent back when I first went vegan in Louisiana, I probably would have used that as a tool to be like, oh, other vegans out there, cool. So I can see scenarios like that where it's useful. But, you know, at the same time, relying on these digital connections can sort of, it takes away the motivation to try a little harder in real life, to make real life connections.
And I mean, Dunbar's number, if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's basically that we can only manage about 150 real meaningful relationships in our life. And people, I mean, when you're engaging with thousands of people, maybe, yeah, you're connecting with people in Washington and I'm in New Hampshire, and that's possible. But at the same time, like, we're so connected and disconnected at the same time. And the quality of the connections isn't what it used to be. And I think that it's really important to like point out like quality over quantity, you know? So I feel like I'm ranting.
You feel strongly about it. That's beautiful.
I do feel strongly about it because I'm put in this position where I feel responsible to steer people in the right direction, and where I feel like social media is definitely going to have a positive impact on your business. At what cost, I think, is the question.
Right. Yeah.
I just think that, I don't know. It's just, we're not digital creatures. We're human beings. We're physical creatures. And I think it's important to not lose sight of that. And I think balance is important. I think we lost balance. I think we need to kind of move back in the other direction and be with people again. You know?
Yeah, I like that. I would agree with that.
Do you have anything to share beyond that?
Beyond social media? What's that?
So am I making you feel uncomfortable right now? Am I ranting?
No, not at all. No, I think this conversation generally has kind of felt like, you know, a lot of things we talked about are things that perhaps a lot of people think about and don't do for one reason or another. Like, oh, I couldn't possibly close my restaurant, or I couldn't possibly delete my social media. But I think if people are feeling that tiny voice in your head, like, what if, you can totally just try it. I mean, you know, there's a good chance I'm wrong, and social media might, you know, not having a social media might have just broken my author career. But again, if that's true, I don't want to be an author, or, you know, maybe I'll change my mind and get back on. Maybe I'll really miss it. But everything is just not that serious, basically. It always feels really serious until you do it and you move on with your life and you realize it was really no big deal.